You've probably heard of growth hormone, also known as GH or somatropin. It's a substance your body naturally produces through the pituitary gland, which sits right at the base of your brain. GH's main job is to stimulate growth during childhood and adolescence, but it keeps playing an active role into adulthood, helping regulate things like body composition, metabolism, and cell regeneration. It doesn't act alone, though. It ramps up the production of another hormone called IGF-1, which is key when it comes to building muscle. And it's this GH-IGF-1 combo that's gotten a lot of attention in fitness and aesthetic circles. I mean, who wouldn't want to build muscle and burn fat faster, right? But the real question is, does GH actually deliver on all the hype? Unlike what many people think, GH isn't your typical anabolic steroid. It doesn't boost strength or muscle volume the way testosterone does. Instead, it speeds up metabolism, helps your body synthesize protein better, and supports tissue recovery. In other words, its effects on muscle growth and fat loss are more indirect. That's why athletes and bodybuilders started using synthetic GH via injections. But let's be clear, this isn't without risks. And yep, we're going to dive into that soon. Had you heard before that GH doesn't work the same way as traditional steroids? In medicine, GH is used in a safe and controlled way for specific conditions, like in kids with growth hormone deficiencies or in adults who aren't producing enough of it naturally. In these cases, somatropin treatments can be life-changing, improving quality of life and preventing a bunch of complications. The problem? It starts when people use GH for purely cosmetic or performance purposes, without any medical need. That's when you run into abuse, health risks, and a whole lot of misunderstandings. Another thing, GH doesn't work on its own. It needs the right setup, solid nutrition, regular workouts, and proper recovery. A lot of folks think all they need is the injection and boom, results. But it doesn't work like that. Even pro athletes have to maintain insanely disciplined routines for GH to actually make a difference. So, if you're ready to learn everything about this hormone that's getting more popular by the day, grab your notebook, your pre-workout, and let's go. GH, or growth hormone, is a pretty fascinating substance, and your body makes it all on its own. Unlike anabolic steroids, it's a peptide hormone, meaning it's made from amino acid chains, just like the ones found in protein. That structure makes it totally unique with some very specific functions. GH doesn't act like testosterone, which goes straight to work on your muscles. It plays a subtler, yet super important role. It's one of the main forces behind your growth and cell repair. Ever heard that it works totally differently than typical steroids? This hormone is made by the pituitary gland, a tiny but mighty part of your brain. And GH isn't released in a constant stream. It comes in bursts, mostly during deep sleep, while fasting, or right after a good workout. That's why getting solid sleep, training consistently, and keeping your nutrition on point are key to naturally boosting your GH levels. Did you know quality sleep can be just as important for gains as the workout itself? We actually talked about that 2 videos ago. As we get older, GH production naturally drops. It's just part of the aging process. But even though you produce less, GH doesn't vanish completely. Your body still stores and uses it, just in smaller amounts. That drop is one reason older adults often struggle to maintain muscle or lose fat as easily. Ever noticed how your metabolism seems to slow down over the years? GH has a lot to do with that. During childhood and adolescence, growth hormone, GH, plays a vital role. It helps bones and tissues grow properly. Without it, the body doesn't develop the way it should. Kids with GH deficiency often end up shorter than average and may deal with other growth-related issues. That's where medical treatment with GH comes in. It helps these kids grow up healthy and live a normal life. Do you know anyone who had to take GH as a child because of a medical condition? Even in adults, GH still matters. It helps maintain muscle health, supports fat metabolism, and even contributes to bone strength. In other words, GH keeps working behind the scenes long after you stop getting taller. But that doesn't mean you should run out and start injecting GH just because. There's a huge difference between medically correcting a deficiency and using it for aesthetic gains. Did you know GH has these roles beyond just helping you grow? Sadly, A lot of people think GH is some kind of magic fix for getting shredded or losing weight. That mindset totally overlooks how complex this hormone really is, how it's made, how it works, and how it's regulated in your body. It's like trying to soup up a car without knowing how the engine works. That's why understanding the basics is so important before making any decisions. Once you understand how GH works naturally in your body, it becomes easier to see why using it without a medical need can be risky. Synthetic GH, the kind used in legitimate treatments and also abused illegally, is actually a super complex biotech product. That means it's made in a lab using advanced genetic engineering techniques. Unlike simple chemical meds you grab at a pharmacy, GH is grown in modified living cells that mimic how the human body produces it. Think of it like trying to recreate a delicate gourmet recipe with the most sensitive ingredients on Earth. Ever stop to think about how high-tech this stuff really is? Here's the thing. The structure of GH is critical. Naturally produced GH in our bodies has 191 amino acids, perfectly arranged to function just right. But some knockoff versions, especially the cheap or illegal ones, come with 192 amino acids. That might sound like a tiny difference, but it totally changes how your body reacts to it. It's like trying to unlock a door with a key that looks almost right, but has one extra tooth. When GH is altered like that, your body might see it as a foreign threat. Instead of absorbing and using the hormone, your immune system might attack it and create antibodies against it. That can trigger allergic reactions, fevers, inflammation, and worst of all, it can make your body stop responding to real GH in the future. So not only does fake GH not work, it could mess up any legit treatments you might need down the road. Have you ever thought about the danger of using something your body could treat like an enemy? Another serious issue is quality control. Counterfeit or low-grade GH might be stored incorrectly, dosed wrong, or even contaminated. Don't forget, we're talking about a super delicate hormone that needs to be refrigerated at specific temperatures. If it's left out too long, it basically becomes useless. But let's be real. People buying GH on the black market usually have zero clue how it was handled. Even legit GH products need to be used with serious care and always under medical supervision. There's a big difference between a product being real and it being safe. That safety starts in a lab, but it also depends on how the hormone is handled and injected. So it's not just about whether the product is authentic, the entire process around it has to be right. Did you know that even the injection method can affect how well GH is absorbed? So before you even think about using GH, even with good intentions, it's crucial to understand what goes into it. We're not talking about some basic supplement or multivitamin here. This is a complex, expensive, and fragile hormone that can do more harm than good if it's misused. In the world of bodybuilding and high-performance sports, growth hormone, or GH, has become one of the most talked about substances out there. A lot of athletes turn to it hoping to burn fat faster, speed up muscle recovery, and even improve the look of their skin. And that buzz didn't come out of nowhere. GH really can change your body, especially if you already have a solid foundation of training and nutrition. But is it really the miracle some people make it out to be? Let's get one thing straight. GH isn't a magic switch. The results take time and are often more subtle than people expect. It's not like you inject it and wake up the next day with shredded abs. Its effects show up gradually, helping improve body composition, reduce water retention, and enhance muscle tone. It helps your body work better overall, but it doesn't replace hard work or consistency. Here's something a lot of folks miss. Pro athletes almost never use GH on its own. It's usually part of a full-on hormone stack that includes testosterone, insulin, and thyroid hormones, all carefully combined in cycles. And even then, GH is just one piece of the puzzle. These protocols are paired with intense training, dialed-in diets, and tons of discipline. One of the most talked about effects of GH is the increase in muscle density. Over time, it helps give your body that dry, chiseled look, sometimes described as having skin tight to the muscle. Some users even notice improvements in skin texture, making it appear firmer and younger, which appeals not just to athletes, but to people focused on aesthetics. But is that really enough to justify using such a delicate hormone? Is it worth the risk? The problem is, social media has blown up GH to the point where people have totally unrealistic expectations. Many think they can just start using it and magically transform their body without serious training or proper nutrition. That mindset is dangerous and usually ends in disappointment. People end up wasting money and risking their health without seeing the results they hoped for. Another key detail: GH doesn't work the same for everyone. Your age, genetics, sleep quality, training routine, and even daily stress all impact how well it works. What gives great results for a seasoned athlete might barely move the needle for someone just starting out. That's why copying someone else's protocol or comparing results can be a huge mistake. So if you've ever thought about using GH to improve your physique, it's worth taking a step back and really thinking it through. Yes, it can have benefits, but only in a much more complex context with careful planning, expert guidance, and most importantly, realistic expectations. Among bodybuilders, GH is considered a luxury hormone, and not just because it's expensive. The purity and quality of the product make a huge difference. In that world, GH made in Europe is often seen as the gold standard. It follows strict production and quality control protocols, making its structure almost identical to the natural human version with 191 amino acids. That greatly reduces the chances of your body rejecting it. On the flip side, GH made in China is cheaper and more accessible, but also raises a lot of concerns. Some batches have issues with structural inconsistencies, contamination, or impurities that can lead to allergic reactions, antibody formation, and low effectiveness. It's not uncommon to hear users say they felt nothing after using low-grade GH. When you're dealing with a hormone this delicate, every little detail matters. And let's clear up one last myth. GH does not make adults grow taller. That's just not how it works. GH can only help lengthen bones while your growth plates, also called epiphyseal plates, are still open, which happens during childhood and adolescence. After that, those plates close naturally, and GH has no impact on height. So no, adults won't gain height from using it. What GH can actually do in adults is improve body composition, speed up tissue regeneration, and increase bone density, but it will never make your bones grow longer. That's because bone growth isn't just about GH. It also requires a specific physiological environment that only exists during certain phases of life. Using GH to try and get taller as an adult is like watering a plant that's already been harvested. It's not going to grow anymore. In bodybuilding, GH isn't used for vertical growth. It's all about visual results like muscle density, definition, and fat reduction. When combined with other hormones and strategic planning, it can definitely enhance someone's physique. But that has nothing to do with bone lengthening. A lot of people still confuse GH's regenerative and cosmetic effects with structural growth. In this world, choosing the right GH brand and source is a huge deal. Experienced bodybuilders usually go for the purest, most reliable products, even if they're more expensive. That's because the risks of using poorly made GH go far beyond aesthetics. They can impact your health and performance. Like we mentioned earlier, European-made GH is often the top choice thanks to its stricter quality standards. So when it comes to GH, knowing what it does isn't enough. You gotta know where it comes from, how it's made, and what you can realistically expect from using it. And most importantly, you need to separate facts from myths. One of the most sensitive topics around GH is the possible link to cancer. After all, we're talking about a hormone that promotes cell growth, and cancer, by definition, is uncontrolled cell growth. That connection sparks a lot of fear, but also a lot of confusion. Can GH cause cancer? It's a common question, and one that needs a science-based answer, not guesswork. Here's the key thing. GH on its own doesn't cause cancer. The same goes for IGF-1, a substance produced by the liver in response to GH. What research shows is that GH and IGF-1 can speed up the growth of tumors that already exist, but they don't create those tumors in the first place. So the real risk isn't starting cancer. It's potentially feeding a cancerous cell that was already there. That's a major shift in perspective. IGF-1, in particular, is closely tied to cellular growth. When GH is released, it signals the liver to produce IGF-1, which then spreads throughout the body and tells tissues to grow. This is what supports muscle repair, lean mass gains, and other benefits. But here's the catch. Cancer cells often have a ton of IGF-1 receptors. So if there's a hidden tumor, it can feed on that stimulus and grow faster. That's why GH can be risky for people with a family history of cancer or certain genetic predispositions. In those cases, GH use should be approached with extreme caution. Full medical screenings, cancer marker checks, and consultations with a specialist are a must. Self-medicating in this situation is a huge risk. Unfortunately, this is a side of the story that gets ignored when people are chasing quick results. When aesthetics are the main focus, long-term side effects often get pushed aside. No one wants to think about disease when they're focused on getting ripped, but that's exactly when the danger creeps in. It's not about causing the problem. It's about speeding up something that was already quietly brewing. And by the time it shows up, it might already be advanced. That's why serious professionals always require lab tests before, during, and after any hormone protocol. It's not overkill. It's called being responsible. Even veteran athletes need constant monitoring, especially if there's a family history involved. GH can be helpful in many scenarios, but using it carelessly is like playing with something your body might not be able to handle. So no, GH and IGF-1 don't cause cancer, but they can fuel existing cancer cells. That's why GH should only be used with medical guidance, based on real lab work and personal history. Now tell me in the comments, did you used to think GH could cause cancer? When it comes to growth hormone and bodybuilding, one of the most common debates is all about dosage. What counts as a low dose? What's considered high? The truth is, those terms are completely relative. A dose that seems low to a seasoned athlete might be way too much for an average person. It all depends on the goal, how the body responds, and, most importantly, the overall health of the person using it. A good example is how GH is prescribed to children with dwarfism or GH deficiency. These kids often get daily doses that would be considered high in the fitness world, and yet their bodies handle it just fine. Why? Because the goal is to kickstart a growth process that's not happening naturally. So yeah, numbers alone don't mean much without context. In bodybuilding, some athletes run 2 to 6 IU international units per day, while others go all the way up to 10 IU or more in super aggressive cycles. But more GH doesn't always mean better results. In fact, higher doses come with higher risks. Things like bloating, tingling in the hands or feet, blood sugar spikes, and insulin resistance. Have you ever heard a bodybuilder say their fingers went numb or their face got puffy from GH? It's more common than you think. The real issue isn't just about how much you use, it's about the quality of the GH and the condition of the person using it. A fake or low-quality GH can trigger serious side effects, even in small doses. On the other hand, pharmaceutical-grade GH used by someone who's healthy and under medical supervision usually carries fewer risks, even at moderate doses. That's why it's not just about the number. Every step matters: quality, purity, storage, and who's using it. Another key point is that a lot of the results people credit to GH are actually from combining it with other hormones and strategies. GH on its own can help, sure, but it works best as part of a complete plan. So if someone's injecting GH but skipping proper meals, sleep, and workouts, they're probably just wasting time and money. And let's be honest, cranking up the dose won't fix that. The body doesn't work like that. Before making any decision about using GH, the smartest move is to get tested, and not just a basic blood panel. We're talking full-on checkups, including genetic testing. These tests can flag early warning signs of tumors or identify risks that GH might make worse. This isn't the kind of thing you want to mess around with. Be real. Have you had a full checkup recently? Some of the most recommended tests include genetic screenings, which show if someone's predisposed to certain cancers. There are also blood tests that look for tumor markers, substances that can be released by cancer cells. These don't confirm a diagnosis, but they can be a red flag that something's off and needs further investigation. Some key tests to keep in mind include CEA, which can indicate abnormalities in various areas of the body. CA-125, often used to investigate gynecological cancers in women. CA-19-9, which can point to issues in the gastrointestinal tract. And PSA, a common marker for prostate health in men. These tests help paint a clearer picture of potential risks before starting any hormone protocol. On top of that, thyroid function should also be checked. The thyroid plays a major role in regulating metabolism and can directly interact with GH use. If your thyroid is out of whack, it can throw off both your results and the safety of your protocol. And let's not forget, even high-quality GH only works well when your body is balanced. That's why additional hormone panels are also essential before jumping in. Getting these tests done before using GH is a smart way to stay ahead of the game. They don't eliminate risk entirely, but they do lower the chances of serious surprises. And it's not a one-and-done deal. Ideally, you should have regular medical check-ins and follow-up testing over time. Your body changes, and what looks good today might shift down the line. Unfortunately, a lot of people skip this step out of impatience or to save money. But ask yourself, what's more expensive, a lab test or a major health issue? Long-term thinking is crucial when it comes to hormones. GH isn't your everyday supplement. It's a powerful substance that can have serious consequences if used without caution. Talking about growth hormone is, first and foremost, a conversation about responsibility. We're not here to promote its use, but we're also not going to ignore the reality that GH is a big part of today's sports, fitness, and aesthetics world. What we've shown throughout this video is that making smart, informed decisions starts with knowledge, lab tests, and proper medical support. We can't rely on guesswork or copy-paste protocols from the internet anymore. Your body is unique, and you need to really know it before making any decision. If this video helped you understand the real risks, the myths, and the actual role of GH, go ahead and hit that like button to support the channel. That tells us this kind of straight-up educational content is worth doing. And drop a comment down below. Tell us what you thought about GH before watching this video. Sharing your experience or questions could help someone else too. We're all about community, and we want to hear from you. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. We cover hormones, bodybuilding, training, health, and more, always with solid info and no fluff. Our mission is all about truth, science, and supporting you. Oh, and if you like this deeper dive into hormones, check out the other video linked in the card above. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. There's no judgment here, just growth. Every click, every comment, every share helps this community grow stronger and more informed. So let's keep going together, building real knowledge and real results.